Thank you for joining our operating room. You're tuned into Media Surgeons podcast. I am one of your hosts, Tiffany Leslie.
I'm Shantae Reed.
And I'm Alexis Gale Grant. And today we will be dissecting how the media treated the COVID-19 pandemic then versus now, as well as how they treated another named pandemic. So stay tuned. There's a lot in store.
All right, now how did it begin? How did COVID begin? Now it's called COVID-19 for a reason. It originated in 2019 in China, as we all must know by now. But a lot of us weren't really introduced to it until March of 2020. Why is that so? It's because of the media, the way they fed us information about it. We didn't really know what was going on until it was too late. I found out in January of 2020. It was a YouTuber. I believe her name is Lovely T. Her subscribers that were Chinese were sending her a lot of pictures, videos, and content and information about what's going on. And that's how I really knew about it. And then now, I guess we all know about it because it's affecting our lives now and then. And that's all because of the media's role in how they deliver the information to us.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that is so true. For me, I didn't know about COVID. I learned about it in January, and that's because of Instagram. And us as young people, we're always surfing Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, and Facebook, and all the works. So I learned about COVID through Instagram. And when I saw it, I was saying, okay, this is there in China. I'm all the way in Jamaica, so okay, that's it. But then when it actually came to my country, that's when I became more aware. And I was like, what is this thing? How did it start? What caused it to spike like this? And so on. And we all know about this because of the media. The media really does play an important role in what we know of COVID today.
And it's funny you
That's so
say.
true.
Yeah. And it's funny you say that, Chante, because I initially, even when I read up on it in early January of last year, I was just looking at it like, wow, this is so sad. Because seeing those people just dropping down in the street for no reason, it was just pandemania over there. But I was like, in my look ahead, Jamaica is in the Caribbean, China is
Yes.
way over there in Asia. Like, this seems like something the Chinese government can contain because they're so restricted anyway. You can't even use a VPN over there. There
Amen.
is no way like they're gonna let this come out in the world. And then when I read, oh, it's traveling through Italy, through the rest of Europe, I was like, yikes, too bad for them. I'm still in Jamaica. And then March 11 came, glean an update on my phone. COVID is now in Jamaica. We have one suspected case. It was hysteria at work. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember that day like yesterday.
I think I was actually out. I was in Juicy Beef actually, and then everybody was frantic and like COVID there, and I'm like, okay. I still really wasn't, because it's just one case. I didn't expect that it would be this big thing now, and just like any new thing, something that we've never heard about, never seen before, there is always going to be something that you hear that don't really make sense. So there were a lot of rumors, a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding the coronavirus. One of them being is that if you catch COVID, you're half dead. And
Sorry to cut you off there, but I think that has a lot to do with how the media really portray.
Exactly.
Knowing what I know now and looking back, I'm really disappointed in a lot of the news
coverage
bulletins and the coverages. I remember seeing a lot of bats and dirty market streets.
My God.
And they made it seem as if people caught COVID because they were not being clean.
Yes.
And they really made it seem as if this was something that is because of the negligence of the Chinese people and they are responsible for, hell.
Yeah. And I think another thing that the media portrayed, especially a lot of the US media, they're perpetuating this point that, oh, it's no deadlier than the flu. Look at them now, over
Definitely.
500,000 people dead in their country because of the quote unquote flu, right? And
Yes.
then when you look here, and I think that's why that's also a part of the media. Some media outlets are saying, oh, it's no harder than the flu, no worse than the flu. And then some media outlets was like, you're going to die. So it's like, what do
Definitely.
you believe? Because it's a new type of virus. It's not like let's say a Spanish flu or a new variant of the flu. It's completely new. And then the thing about it
Yes.
is the media doesn't know how to separate coronavirus and COVID. Coronavirus itself is a virus, but you have different strains of the virus. That's why there are new viruses now in March 2021. So
That is very
COVID-19 is a
true.
branch of it, and you have different variants. So they're not telling us this. I remember when COVID just came, they were updating us like, whoa, 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 where was that update prior to when it was
Yes.
in your own country? Where was the
Definitely.
daily or hourly updates? Where were the protocols? Or do I just sit down and watch and see what happens? Look at us now.
Definitely. And I don't think the problem is only with the media in terms of like the newsrooms.
Mm-hmm.
You have social media. Social media played a big role in that because there were chain messages going around on WhatsApp and Twitter and all over the place about things that were not true about the coronavirus. I don't know if you guys saw this one, but it was from, I think it was a military person. He was in the military from in China, and
Mm-hmm.
they're saying that if you catch the COVID, you're going to die. And it's so man made that if you do catch it, something about some alpha, it was a whole mess. Say it's not only the newsroom that plays a part in this social media, because let's face it, once one person catch something and them stick to it, them run with it all over the place. So it was actually being spread of all the negative things that were associated with corona.
And
So,
it makes you really wonder, why and who is starting these
definitely.
chain messages and viral videos. Where are these messages coming from? Whose agenda is the media setting? Because for a very long time, COVID was the Chinese virus or just the flu or a political, it always came from a political standpoint, especially
Yes.
because the United States general elections was about to start.
Yeah.
And the closer and closer we got to the elections, everything that surrounded COVID-19 was about the United States president and who could
Yes.
handle it and who couldn't handle it. So it just goes to show that the media plays a huge part in basically narrating the conversations of the public. So
Definitely.
we all
Yes.
have all these different views,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
They
we're still
influence
talking
public
about the same
opinion.
thing every day.
Yes.
I agree, and I have a
So,
point on that. I remember when it was here in Jamaica, and they were talking about when it's gonna speed up when we're supposed to expect a lot of cases. This was when we were in just double digits, right? And then once we were trending down, we were almost once we went to triple digits, but we were trending down to go back to digits. Our
yes.
election was called for us, and
Yes.
at that time the numbers hadn't spiked as bad yet. And then the way it was in the media, it was like, it's going down, it's good, things can open up back. And everything was less, like our curfew was less, because I remember recording another podcast and I had to make sure I reached home before 11 p.m. because that's what our curfew was. A lot of things were opening up.
Yes.
Beaches. I can't tell the last time I see a beach.
Yes. That
Beaches,
11 o'clock curfew
theaters,
was, yeah, up there.
everything was opening up because the media was presenting to us that it's not that important now. It's not as deadly. It's okay. It's something we can live with. And then August come, September come, it was horrible. January come and the whole of February we're just trending upwards, upwards, upwards.
Upwards,
And
yes.
it's like what they're saying to us is if it's not showing signs of increasing doom, then it's not really important now. But once it's showing like doom, then that's what matters. And I think that's the issue with media locally, regionally, and globally. Like they don't give us the quote unquote news or importance until they realize that, oh, it's gonna affect everybody, including myself.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
I
Agenda
that
setting,
that
like,
which also, Tiffany, that's
Mhm.
such a good point, because you realize that once the election started, they essentially started telling us,
Mhm.
let's shift the focus from COVID for a
To
while
politics.
and talk about the election. And if you
Exactly.
noticed, while the election was happening, no one was taking any precautions.
definitely.
Mind you, COVID was still a very, very important topic. It was still very important to have the
Mhm.
media, see every day, protect yourself, wear your mask.
And
They
that's
were
all.
focusing on
Okay.
politics. And as soon as the election ended, straight back to
And that's
COVID.
the thing,
COVID.
Alexis,
So true.
because when Andrew Holness called the election, that's when we actually spiked again. I believe it was just a week before after we received such spike. And then
Yes.
in
The
all of this,
community spread.
as all of this as a leader, he said, okay, let's call it now. When he had until February of this year to call it again. Like
Yeah.
he didn't have to do that. And then with that, exactly, Alexis. It shifted. COVID is still here now, but electing somebody new is different because even I was catching up on the news a lot then. All I'm being force fed is ads from PMP or JLP or
Yes.
Rohan Chung. All I was being fed was those, and
Doxing.
I'm like, where's the content when COVID just started and I was receiving daily updates about, who catch
Yes.
what, how many active cases, who died,
Yes.
where is that? All I'm getting is politics, politics, and remember to watch the debate. Remember,
Yeah.
like, okay,
And
it's
it
important, but
shows.
even during the debates, it wasn't that big a deal because politics matters so much more than human decency.
And it shows because at that time the media was putting out information constantly. And once that stopped altogether, like people stopped caring, nobody was
Mhm.
social distancing, nobody was wearing their mask because they were not being fed. Like a baby, you're not being fed, and then you withdraw. But then afterwards, when it started to spike, that's when all the conversation surrounding COVID started again.
That
And it's not
is so
just that
true.
we need to be fed,
Mhm.
Shanti. It's a little bit more than that. It just goes to show that the media controls us
Shows,
more than
yes,
we would like to think.
yes,
They
that's
are
true.
shoving their agendas down our throats, and we just sit with our mouths wide open, because even though COVID-19 may be the most important thing right now, I'm sure, we know, as journalism students, that the main function of the media is to inform the
Inform the
public, and the
people,
only
yes.
thing we're getting right now is COVID. And you can see that on the international scale as well as on the local scale, because while COVID-19 was at an all-time high, we also had tsunamis, bombings,
Murders.
Yes.
earthquakes, mass murders, and none of those things were being covered. And COVID was just the main thing.
Center of
And
attention, yes.
also locally, no one could properly digest the fact that Ananda Dean was still missing, because all we could talk about was COVID.
You mean Jasmine?
Jasmine Deans.
Yes.
Sorry,
Oh,
Jasmine Dean. It's
okay.
so funny that they both have the same last name.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of things happen. Even earthquakes. Last year, there were so many
So many
earthquakes
earthquakes, yes.
in Jamaica last year. It's the first year I felt one earthquake that big, and then two, so many, and that wasn't being covered. The murder rate, as people are losing their jobs because of this pandemic, they're getting desperate to feed themselves and their family and to get some money. And a lot of grand larceny is happening, a lot of theft, a lot of murders, because when what happens when people don't have any type of income, they start to look different ways to, try to sustain their lives, because that's why we're here, to sustain our lives. And nothing was being done about that. Myself, I lost my job as a part of this whole pandemic, and I applied for the Set Cash grant that the government had, and it took almost 6 months to get the money. If I didn't have
Yes,
no money, if I didn't have a family that was
true.
helping me through this thing, I don't know how I could survive. Imagine people who didn't who have children and a whole
That is
family to
so
feed.
true.
Like my grant was just to cover because I lost my work. But the other ones, some of them you just get what, a $10,000
Yes.
money, and then that's it. I am so grateful mine is sustaining me up until now, but it's not enough. They're not giving us options. They're not making this pandemic livable in. Like everyone is having the same issue, but I feel like we're failing in that part, and also they're not utilizing, because media is
And
now
nobody's
propped up too
talking
much.
about that.
Yeah, media is
Definitely.
now propped up more. We are more accessible to media now everywhere. We are
Than
more
before.
we're more watching the news now, getting updates now, because prior to the pandemic, I wasn't seeing a lot of people, commenting on news blogs or anything, but everybody's catching up now, but they're not
Yes.
being responsible with it. Even when I'm trying to remember her name, that was pregnant and she died because the doctor suspected that she had
Um,
COVID.
what's her
Like,
name?
And that was because of the
The
media.
media,
exactly.
yes.
That was because of how the media portrayed COVID-19 and the fact that they were shoving it down our throats so much. It
Mhm.
caused fear mongering and is like a stigma. You couldn't cough in public, you couldn't sneeze
Yes, that
anymore.
is
Mhm.
true.
God forbid you did that. Like they would
I believe
either look
someone
on
was
you.
stabbed.
Oh,
Yes,
I remember
yes,
that.
that
Yes.
happened. Yes, it was on a bus.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
So
that's because they were focusing on showing the bad side of it. Granted, there might not be any good side, but there's a way to live with it and protect yourself. But they were just so focused on showing the bad side and how
Yes,
the apocalypse is here, that people were just being frightened about it. Because once you show somebody like, oh, you're gonna dead, then I'm gonna try them best to survive.
yes.
and there's such a stark difference between then and now, because
And
now there's a different narrative. Now
yes,
it's wear your mask, stay safe, stay
Hand
home, you'll
sanitize.
be fine, hand sanitize, we will all be fine, let's just make it through this.
yes, that is so true.
I think
It's so different.
yeah, with now, everyone has accepted the fact that it's here to stay. It's just
Yes,
one of those off chance diseases that you probably will get,
yes.
and that's fine. It's here to
I
stay. And
mean,
because
it's
of
almost
they're
2 years
so
now.
yeah, because they're so complacent with it now, like nobody wants to take any more precaution because people don't lose any loved ones.
Yes,
They're like, oh, it does this, and I believe that's part of the media. I think the media has is showing people as statistics, so it desensitize other persons from knowing that these are actually real people. You're showing them as numbers. People are going to view that, oh, it's just a number. It's not really a
yes,
person,
yeah,
and then that's how they're doing it every day. Every day you get every day about three to five or more updates about COVID, and they're showing numbers. They don't the language that they're using is just statistical to treat them as just any other thing, and
There's no empathy.
at all. So, oh, somebody died. They don't show, okay, these are the people that died today. Pray for their loved ones or anything. No, it's just 27 people have died today. This is how many males. This is how many females.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that
Yeah,
is so true. And um, having experienced the pandemic for almost 2 years now, it makes us more knowledgeable of how to behave and how to react to this thing. And one of the conversations surrounding coronavirus now is the whole vaccine. Because I mean, we've all been through it and we know that we're supposed to social distance or a mask and everything. And we know what the media had said about it before now. So now the conversation is surrounding the vaccine, whether we should take it or not, whether it's a good thing, whether if we take it, we're going to die, and all the works, So that's the thing that is surrounded
Funny,
the.
Yeah, go
funny
ahead,
you
Alexis,
say
because
that, Shanti,
there's a funny thing about the
because
vaccine for real.
it just goes right back to our point. It's
Yes,
all about the
the media.
agenda of
Hmm.
the media, or agenda of the whosoever's agenda the media is trying to enforce, whether it is their agenda
Or the
or
politician.
the
Or the
government
public.
or the
Yes,
public's agenda. Because like you were saying, there nobody knows, or well, different people have different opinions, whether the vaccine is a good thing, whether it's a
it's
bad
a
thing,
bad
whether it's
thing.
going to kill
Yes,
you, whether it's going to make you better, whether it's going to going to grow an extra toe. People have
definitely.
so
Yes,
many things to say about the
yeah.
vaccine, and it's all because media has portrayed it.
Not so fast. You've come to the end of part 1 of our discussion on how the media addressed COVID versus now. Stay tuned for part 2. As always, thank you for listening. Ensure you like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube page, Media Surgeons, as well as follow us on all podcast platforms at Media Surgeons. Bye, guys.